Boom, and we're live. Thank you for stopping by Indie Dave Comics. I, of course, am Indie Dave. With me tonight, we have Mike Murphy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. This is the last week, at least, for the initial push, for Samurai and Dinosaurs, and we're really hoping we want to get you guys funded, and we're hoping more people stop in and check you out, and we're going to be pushing hard this week to get you guys get your book in and get it shipped.
Yeah, that's the plan. Me and Edwin have been talking, and he sent me a couple good ideas, which I'll be implementing between later tonight and tomorrow. So between that and like all the streams I've got lined up, I'm hoping we can do it.
Yeah, I saw he did the video for. He's been doing them for the different comics all week, and I saw he did yours today.
Yeah, that was like one of the last things that I saw last night. I thought it was so great.
Yeah, he's been doing real. He's really good at pushing projects.
Totally.
All right, so let's get into it. We're gonna try. I'm gonna try not to boomer stuff anymore. So let me see. We're gonna put you on the screen. Then I'm gonna do a share screen.
Okay.
And then we'll go up to your page, and then I'm gonna do this number here. And then let's try this again. And boom. All right. You see me? You see your stuff up there?
There you go. I see
All
it.
right. So tell us about Samurai and Dinosaurs.
You got it, man. For anyone who isn't in the know, Samurai and Dinosaurs is about an elite group of samurai who are dispatched to investigate a downed meteorite and reports of monsters terrorizing the countryside. Along their journey, time begins to break down and fracture all around them. And what they eventually discover is dinosaurs kind of bleeding out of the Jurassic era into feudal Japan. And the question becomes, how do they stop them? How do they deal with them? Can they even comprehend what it is that's happening? So that's the crux of the book.
It's nice that you got the extra money to put Keanu Reeves right in it.
I know, right?
All right.
Yeah, the licensing was expensive.
All right. Let's hide that. And all righty. Let's go down to some of the artwork. Let's see. There's your description. Oh, well, let's go over your tiers real quick. For
Sure.
$2, we get a thanks for your support. And if you can't get the book now, the goal is to get it funded, meet the goal, and then he can put it on in demand. And then when you get the money later, while it's in demand, guys, you can buy the book then. So
Right.
if you can't afford to get the book right now, anybody listening, chip in a couple bucks. Just get the digital copy maybe for now, just to get him to the goal. And then when you've got a little extra money later, then you can put in for the full physical copy. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was the main plan with those two tiers. We've had some interest in the digital tier, but for the most part, people want the print copy. But if times are tough, we wanted two options for people to be able to help in whatever way they could.
All right. Well, you got 18 people on the digital copy, so that's something. Yeah. All right. So the physical copy gets you your book. You get 29 claim to that one. Let's see. How many pages is the book going to be?
110, and if we get into stretch goal territory, it could be anywhere from 120 to 130.
Wow. All right. So $20 get you into the stretch goal, and you're looking at a bigger book. That's good value for a 110-page book. Let's see. We got 29 claim to that. $30 get you the digital, the print, and the prequel. Tell us about the prequel.
You got it. I'm working on the cover to the prequel right now, actually. The prequel is going to be called The Cabin, and about halfway into the main book, the characters come across a cabin out in the woods, kind of in the style of, Evil Dead and, the trope of the cabin in the woods. When they get inside, everything's kind of said and done in terms of the inhabitants of the cabin. And so I wanted to explore what exactly happened to who lived in the cabin prior to the group arriving. And tonally, the way I've been describing it is it's kind of Rogue One by way of that point in Memento, not Memento, in Inception, when Leo and his wife spend like several years like deep down under.
Okay. So
It's kind of a tragic romance.
okay, well that's cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. $50 swag bag. What's coming in the swag bag?
Everything at the $30 level plus a poster of the cover, two postcards featuring the two shots in the book that people are most receptive of, the initial raptor attack splash page and that big establishing shot of Ren, our main character, riding into the city.
Okay.
And you'll also be getting an illustration done by me. It's going to be a production still of me behind the camera and Sergio with a little miniature version set up in front of the camera of a dinosaur and the cast reacting to the dinosaur behind them.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Support the troops. Where's that all going?
So support the troops. The person that backs it gets 2 copies for themselves, and 3 copies are being sent out via, I believe it's called the Paperback Initiative or something like that. Basically, 3 copies are going to be shipped out to the U.S. troops.
Cool. All right, we gotta support the troops, guys. Let's see. Page 9, original art, $160.
Yeah. So in the description for each of these tiers, I listed what the page is, but I also in the update section showed the full page. I could only show a little miniature thumbnail, and I wanted people who were interested in the pages to be able to see them full size. That's why they're not actually pictured in the tier themselves.
Okay.
So yeah, like we have, I think 3 or 4 listed. One of them has sold,
Yeah.
and I still have to list 2 more.
All right. So we sold page 73. We've got 83, 15, and 9 as of right now listed, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Let's look at got the first 11 pages. Let's start right there. You got the meteor coming down, heading down for the Earth, and you can see the flat disk of the Earth right there.
Yep.
And the flat disk of the moon. Let's see. Here's the incoming, right over through the mountains, and turned around from the back. Harkoon, Samurai and Dinosaurs. All righty. See, 45 miles due west of the royal city, Utoku Kakan. Let's see. And here comes the dirty part.
Yep. Yeah, here comes the R-rated stuff.
All righty. Yeah. So it's not just for the kiddies, guys. You might not want to read this part to the kiddies. But
Right.
He's got his servant that's come to deliver him some news. And we'll kind of gloss over that a little bit. And the master is not particularly happy about being interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It says, over there, past the hills, Daimyo Katai. Eh? Oh. And then he sees the smoke and the fire in the distance. He says, shit. Alrighty. 1 year later. So they've been dealing with the dinosaurs for a year at this point? Or
No,
have they not seen any effects yet?
No, they haven't seen any effects yet. And again, like given that there was no mass transit, no easy way to get around, like if Ren here, our protagonist lives, 100, 200 miles away from the royal city, it's not exactly going to be fast going getting noticed to him.
Yeah.
And they still have to gather the rest of the samurais.
All right.
So it's taken some time to assemble the team.
Okay. And here's Ren right there. And Ren is our main protagonist.
Yeah, it is an ensemble piece, but for the most part, he's the de facto main character.
Okay. Let's see. What have you done? The house is on fire. When a dog behaves poorly, do you not cast stones at its hide? Does it sting, Ren? Rah! That's a great shot right there.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
so
put
do that.
I used that for the last thumbnail for the last interview I think we did.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Let's see. And there he's slicing through his enemies. There we go. A little bit of blood there, a little bit of swordsmanship,
Hmm.
deep breathing. Have you had any honor? If you had any honor left in your worthless heart, you'd redeem yourself here and now. You pledged your life in service to me, and then you fled with that whore. Since you speak of honor, she was innocent. I've taken men's lives for far less. I'll not take my life this night. You've already stolen more than you're owed. Then how does this night end, Ren? And that will lead you into the main story for
Yep.
Samurai and Dinosaurs. All right, for stretch goals. Well, let's get you funded first, but for stretch goals, stuff to look forward to. With custom bookmark depicting Ren's terrible loss from the heart of the story. Artwork will be Francisco Narde, artist of the Good Night. Ooh, we like
Hmm.
those. We like those guys over at the Good Night. Let's see. Go ahead. You gonna say something?
Yeah, just like Crystal was great about putting me in touch with him, and he was really receptive to the idea and wanted to contribute more than just the bookmark. So we added him to the gallery too.
Cool. Yeah. Every time she sees me on another live stream, like in the chat, she's always like, "Hey, Indie Dave."
Right, right.
She's
No,
she's like the nicest person.
she is. She's
I
great.
need to get her back on here. Let's see. $12,000 gets you the pinup gallery.
Hmm.
Kung Lee. I can't even wait for that book. Battle Maiden. That's on
Hmm.
my list. Narwhal. I've talked to Narwhal the other day. He's a good guy. Vince Rush. Uh, Christian Rossi. Selena Hernandez. Who is that?
I know her.
Is she there right now?
No, so one of the reasons I was running a few minutes late is we were trying to get Clark put down for an afternoon nap.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
You let her know I said hi.
I will.
Let's see. Carlo Rowe, Death Sworn, Francisco Nardi, yep, from Good Night, and possibly more artists to be announced as soon as possible.
Yeah, so what's crazy is a fan of the book reached out to Kelsey Shannon because he was looking for more references because he was just in a sketching mood.
Mm-hmm.
And they mentioned Samurai and Dinosaurs, and he's, obviously this is for his own collection and just his
Yeah,
own practice, but he's going to be at some point doing a Samurai and Dinosaurs pinup.
that is
And
sweet.
yeah, I'm totally, when it's done, I'm going to ask him how much he would charge to license it out for the book.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounded like he was having a little fun last night. I don't know if you caught any of that.
I caught a few minutes of it and I was like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, like he said today, he doesn't remember any of it.
Right, right, right.
All right.
But probably for the best.
Yeah. Let's see. 15,000. We're gonna expand your I keep saying we. You're gonna expand you're gonna expand the cabin. A few extra pages.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. It's gonna go to 24 pages. At 18,000, Samurai and Dinosaurs trading card. This will be the style of gross out storytelling cards. Like Mars Attacks and Dinosaurs Attack. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, and we're still waiting. We'll see what happens about the next stretch goals here.
Yeah, like you said, right now we're just focused on hitting funding.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody listening, hopefully somebody will listen later. I don't know if we got anybody right now. Is anybody in the chat? All righty. So, all right. So, Sam, we need to get this thing. You need to get this thing funded. I've been pushing hard for it. I know a lot of guys are really pushing for you.
Yeah, I know. The support that we've received like over the past couple months has been amazing, and we're really grateful for all of it.
Have you got everybody funded it before? Backed it
Uh,
before?
no, I don't have an exact number, but I know that we don't. And basically, every 2 days from here till the end, I'm gonna be posting reminders on the old campaign. Because if we could, we'd basically be at our goal.
That's definitely the plan there.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
we're at 57. Well, I keep saying we. You're at
it's all good.
57. You're at 57% right now. So we got to get you there.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
5 days left. And you're gonna be. What are you gonna be doing? What's your plan right now?
I'm doing well. There's talking with you tonight. Let me pull up my schedule. Um, come on, load. Okay, so tomorrow I'm gonna be hanging out with Chester around 5 o'clock. Uh, and Thursday I'll be doing Narwhal's show. Friday I just found out earlier that Mike Anger is gonna be doing a an auction in the hopes to like raise some funds for my book and
Oh, good,
uh,
good.
yeah, and like one or two other guys. So I thought that was really cool of him.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that'll be Friday night, and then we've basically got all of Saturday, and right now Saturday's still open.
All right, you need to talk to Frugal and Nerd Wonder. They did. I saw they did Hero the other night, and they
Okay.
did really good. This I know. I know she sounded excited when I said Samurai and Dinosaurs one time to her. She was like Samurai and Dinosaurs, and she gets all like freaked out and stuff. But they've been talking to some creators, so you should get a hold of Captain Frugal and see if he'll have you on.
Okay. I will drop him a line as soon as this is done.
Yeah, and I don't know. Have you done Marmaduke show?
I did last time around. I haven't this time around. I should probably see if he's got any time this week.
Yeah, try to hit up everybody as much as you can. This you should be constantly this whole week
Oh
hitting
yeah.
people up.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said on Twitter, like my dance card is quickly filling up.
That's good. That's good. We definitely want to see you there.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what? I know you've had some trouble. We'll bring this up again. You've had some trouble, personally with people just uh, just kind of dumping your friendships because of
Yeah.
your relation.
Yeah, we've lost a couple of friendships and we've definitely lost some business contacts. As a matter of fact, I think last week or the week before I checked and my last contact in the mainstream industry finally got around to blocking me.
Wow, that just seems so petty.
It does. I mean, like it is what it is. Like Selena and I talked about it going into this decision, and we knew that it was going to be a lot of work, just like our day job is, and just like trying to break into the mainstream industry was. Um, but we were prepared to lose our professional contacts, but the friendships were a surprise.
Yeah, I don't understand how people who call themselves your friend are going to just kind of do you like that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, I it again, the last thing that he said to me was we believe in something and you don't. And so it's like, okay, well, what you're saying is you're an ideologue, and uh beliefs and ideological structures mean more to you than like a person that is actually standing in front of you and interacting with you.
And that's so disingenuous because it's not that you don't believe in anything, it's you believe in something different. And that's how they have it set up. That's how they justify it. It's like, "Oh, we believe in something and you don't believe in anything."
Exactly. Yeah, like I mean, who I am as a person, who Selena is as a person, hasn't really changed. I mean, we're fairly straight down the middle when it comes to political stuff and social stuff. Like it's the whole Chris Rock thing of there's some shit that I'm liberal about, there's some shit that I'm conservative about, and the only thing that's really changed is our approach to what comics is and what it should be.
The heart to me, like the core principles of what Comicsgate is, it all boils down to basically just free market economics.
Right.
It's putting out a good product and letting the people decide whether they want to buy that product or not. And
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, a lot of this whole like shutting people down and you know all that stuff. That just it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why people. I disagree with you. You should be allowed to make money.
Right. Well, it's it's the whole thing that diversity in comics said like I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year ago. He did a video talking about how arguing about Comicsgate is kind of pointless because it's a discussion about nuance, and a lot of these people don't deal in nuance.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. That unfortunately, it's not just the other side though. I mean, there's a lot of the drama that happened last weekend and kind of carried over. There's a lot of not understanding nuance. It's taking sides and make. I don't know if you're aware of the stuff that was going on with Doug. I don't want
Oh
to talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
No,
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. But when you break it down, so much of it comes down to just if we had just sat down and talked about it, a lot of it could have been cleared up
right.
because it's a lot of he said, she said, and then just ignoring the nuance of the arguments.
Yeah, exactly. And like through that whole thing, like I was on the side of like, look, no one, none of us involved in this, or none of us like offering an opinion should be doing this publicly. Like this kind of seems like an inside baseball thing.
Yeah,
And because all it's going to do is create like tension and division in what's already kind of a volatile fan base.
none of this stuff sells comic books. Is
Right.
basically what it comes down to.
Right.
If it's not selling comic books, oh hey, the metal's here.
Hey.
Hey, all right, yeah. So if it's not selling comic books, nobody should. I mean, if you claim to be Comicsgate and you're doing stuff that's not helping the creators, not helping Comicsgate people, then you're going against them essentially, whether you intend to or not. That's what's happening.
Right.
You're picking sides and teams and all that stuff when everybody's really going in the same direction.
Exactly. And like the most that I dipped my toe into the whole discussion was I said, I left mainstream comics to get away from stuff like this.
Yeah. Now, without giving out names, obviously, what kind of business connections did you lose? Is it mostly artists type stuff?
Yeah, the last person who finally blocked me was an artist. They're not huge, but if I named them, you would probably know them. They've worked for Image, Dark Horse, DC. Uh, I think he's done some Marvel work. So yeah, like he's and what's worse is like he's local. So at some point, I'm probably going to run into him, and that'll be awkward.
It's Eric Larson, isn't
Oh, it's totally
it?
Eric Larson. When Image relocated out here, I still don't know if he made the move with the corporation or if he's still based out of California.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
He's uh,
All I know is that once Image made the move here, that's when they started getting weird.
it's like a cancer.
It really is, man. Like shit's weird here in Portland, and like I know I've discussed it before, but like the main discussion really going on between Selena and I right now is like, okay, are we staying here or are we relocating? and it's a tricky thing with a lot of pros and cons in each side.
Yeah, relocating is always. I mean, you really got to find out if you're relocating to somewhere else. You really have to know about that area as far as, well, what is it about that area that's going to make it better than where we're at now? Is it the atmosphere? Is it the location of hospitals and schools and all that stuff? I mean, your kid's still a baby,
Right.
so you're not so much worried about schools, at least not yet. It's not like you're pulling them out of anything.
Right, but that's the whole thing. Like
Yeah,
it's the realization of like wherever we end up, that's kind of where we have to stay for the sake of stability and his sake,
yeah. I have 3 kids.
Hmm.
Nobody in my family, me, my wife, or any of my 3 kids have been born in the same state.
Wow.
Yeah, so we moved around. Well, I was in the Navy for a while, so I
Okay.
mean, even after that, we moved around a lot. So
Sure.
3 kids, all different states, plus
Yeah,
the wife.
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, plus the wife and me, both different states.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, like I mean, I grew up as an only child, and even though like we relocated once within the same city, like I was for a bunch of various reasons, like I was basically always the new kid. I went to, I think, four grade schools before like landing at a high school that like I stayed at for all 4 years. So being in that position 4 times over and knowing what it can be like, I don't want him growing up having to be the new kid, so to speak.
Yeah, I moved around. Let's see, when I was a kid, 1, 2, 3, and then back again. So I went to all kinds of different schools back and forth throughout New England. Well, not throughout New England, but New Hampshire and Vermont is
Hmm.
where I lived. So I mean, we bounced around quite a bit, and I
Yeah,
was almost always the new kid. I was never there long enough where it's like, oh yeah, you had friends for years.
exactly. Like I was lucky enough that there were some people that I knew from one of the grade schools I went to when I went into high school. Um, but as far as that grade school appearance goes, like I was every like 3 years, I was the new kid. So
Yeah,
it can be rough.
yeah. It's hard not it's not that you can't not able to make friends, but it's hard keeping friends. When we pulled our son the first time out of a school where he had real friends, when we moved out of Vermont.
Hmm.
Uh, it hit him pretty hard.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah, but
that's too bad.
he's a lot older now, so I mean it's not so
Right,
bad. But
right. Yeah, man. So, and then on the other side of things, it's like, well, do we want him going through the Portland public school system, like knowing some of the things that we know? And it's like, I don't know.
is it really preachy there too? They get
It's
the whole thing, the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, like I'll put it to you like this. Like last year, and I don't know if I told you this story or not, but last year Selena was invited to be a part of a women in comics talk at the public college here in Portland. And oof, like without going into specifics and naming names, like she was, both her and I were like gritting our teeth through the entire thing, like me from the audience and her up on stage. Um, like uh, the opening of the talk was all the panelists were told beforehand, hey, when you show up, bring with you a piece of comic art that you find problematic.
So right off the bat, it's not like, hey, show us something you love.
Yes, yes.
It's yeah, show us something that you think is is iffy.
And Selena, bless her. Selena brought like the biggest, bustiest Power Girl pinup she could from Amanda Connor. And when it got to her, like everyone immediately started talking trash about it. And Selena was like, actually, I really like it. And the artist is Amanda Connor, blah, 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 blah. And
Ah,
as, as soon as they found out that it was a woman, like they tried doing the pivoting thing of like, oh, well, actually, the anatomy and blah, blah, blah. It's like,
that's awesome. Is it that? Oh, there's one big Power Girl picture where it's like an overhead shot and she's looking up at the camera and it's straight down the boob window.
Yeah,
Was that the one?
that might have been it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's hilarious.
so yeah, like that's what the school system is like from college all the way down to the grade schools here.
God. Yeah, it's actually we live in Virginia, so it's actually been pretty good for us.
Hmm.
The schools are pretty good, and I haven't found a lot of nonsense to be worried about.
Well, that's good.
Uh, so all right. So have you started replacing some of those contacts with Comicsgate people?
Well, yeah. I mean, partially out of necessity, and partially because, like, you know, the whole scene is like really, it's almost like culture shock. Like when we first moved here from Chicago, it was that same type of culture shock back before Portland got kind of weird and crummy the way it is now. But anyway, like in Chicago, it's kind of a keep your nose to the ground, like just go where you got to go, do what you got to do type of place. And here, like the example I use is there was a time when I was in college in Chicago, and I was walking with a friend, and we had the walk sign, and I started crossing, and if she didn't grab me by the collar and yank me backwards, a taxi would have like plowed into me.
Jeez.
So that can kind of be what Chicago is like, whereas like here, at least when we moved, like we were at a cross stop, like not even a full on, you know, walk signal, and like 3 lanes of traffic stopped just so that we could cross the street.
Oh, wow.
Um, so it was that same type of culture shock with Comicsgate, where like I've just gotten used to uh everyone kind of being nervous around each other and not really saying anything for fear of like pissing off the wrong person or losing a contact. And here everything's just kind of open and welcoming, like it, you know, everyone from like Ethan to Doug to anyone up along the food chain you can just kind of reach out to and talk to.
That's cool.
And
Doug's been incredibly nice to me. I mean,
yeah.
more than he's had to be. I mean, I've been on his show twice,
Hmm.
and it was just like, "Hey, random people, come on in."
Yeah. Doug's a good guy. He's given me some advice too. And like right now I'm in the middle of reading Creature Tech, like one of his earlier books, just to get ready for Bigfoot Bill.
I th
uh
I think at some point I might have to order one of his old Creature Tech looks really good.
it's great. It's I didn't, because like I bought one of the older editions, like he's coming out with a colorized edition through Image.
Mhm.
I bought the older edition, and it's, at first I was kind of put off by it because the cover looks like one of those old science textbooks from the 60s. But reading it, like that's totally an intentional choice, because the story is basically, what if there was a research lab slash warehouse facility along the lines of the end of Indiana Jones,
Oh, okay, yeah.
but what if it was housed in this like podunk redneck town? And it's been really enjoyable so far.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna. I'll wait till that colorized version. I know he has the colorist on every once in a while,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think I'll wait till that one's fully finished. I'll get
Yeah,
that.
it's good so far, and yeah, it's totally making me excited to get my hands on Bigfoot Bill.
All right. How many of the big? How many? Well, how many of the other books have you backed so far?
A bunch. You know, it helped like last year that money was better.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I can tell you, I think it's somewhere around 10 or 12 titles. Um, you know, I backed Iron Sights. Um, I backed Jawbreakers, backed Cyberfrog, and Brand, a whole bunch of others. And like recently, I backed The Good Night and Tales from the Stacks and the Abductables.
Cool. I think I'm probably gonna pitch in on that Deductibles.
It looks
That
so
one,
great.
yeah. And eBay's a good guy too. I really like eBay.
Yeah, he's great. We just started following each other on Instagram. I should probably drop him a line.
Yeah, he's. I worked with him one time,
Right on
and
the
I've talked to
forklift.
him. Yeah, and I've talked, back and forth at emails and stuff. He's a really smart guy, and he's just really cool. He's really cool to talk to.
Yeah, and it's been amazing like watching his growth as an artist because um Iron Sights was readable, but you could tell like it was an artist still figuring themselves out.
Hmm.
And I look at the Abductables now and I'm like, dude, like you've like it's almost a complete 180. Like your anatomy is on point, your facial expressions are so improved.
Yeah, when I was working with him, he was in the middle of doing Iron Sights,
Hmm.
and uh, and it was like, yeah, well, I got this 4 pages, or it was 5 pages originally,
Hmm.
and I was like, you know what? There's no time limit on it. There's no publication date or whatever. So I just wanted him work on it when he had time, and I gave him the script, and he really liked it, and he did it up for me, and then he did it, and then he came to me later. He's like, you know what? I want to redo these last couple of pages.
Oh
He's like,
wow.
I really think that I've gotten better. So I want to redo these last 2 pages.
That's
So
really awesome of him.
yeah, he was cool. He's like, you know what? I really got to buckle down. He's after seeing Malin's work on Jawbreakers. He was like, man, I really feel like I need to get better. And so yeah, so I mean, he's a beast.
That's
He's
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, depending on his schedule at some point in the future, I might even reach out to him for a project.
Yeah, he's that's good. I'm waiting on. I just saw the update for Knuckle Bomb today. That's one I'm really excited about.
Yeah, yeah.
And I actually, for the first time, I went up a tier for a book. Well, actually, no, the second time, because I went up for Jawbreakers. Or no, I'm sorry, not Jawbreakers. Cyber Frog, so I could get the Ash Can.
Right.
So I re-put in for that one, and then I uh, I bought an extra tier on Bigfoot Bill and got a sketch page.
Oh, nice.
So I got an original sketch page from Doug TeNapel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was really cool. That's one of the when that arrived, I was just like, oh, it was just one of the coolest things I've ever gotten. I'm like, wow, this is so awesome.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I don't I mean, like to bring it back to Comicsgate, man, like it's just like I think I said this on Twitter, like I just creatively speaking and as a fan, like I just want to go where the cool shit is. And I like except for what Alterna is doing and maybe like 3 or 4 titles from all the other companies combined, like there's nothing going on in mainstream comics that's really grabbing me.
The impression I get from everybody outside of Comicsgate
Hmm.
is like everybody's constantly walking on eggshells.
Yes,
That's the I guess they were talking about somebody else, one of the Marvel guys or whatever, that
hmm
did like a drinking and drawing stream, and from what I had, everybody said it was just boring as hell. They're not joking and ragging on each other and that kind of stuff. They're just kind of
right. Well,
like,
they can't. I mean, all it takes is the wrong person hearing the wrong thing or interpreting something the wrong way, and boom, like you've just lost like a year's worth of income.
yeah, it's they lost all the fun, and that it shows in the comics. It's not fun anymore. I mean, there are a few good ones out there, but when you get guys like, I mean, have you seen the one Wanger's working on? His new
With
one, the Super Harem.
oh yeah, oh
It's
dude,
a completely ridiculously out there idea, so non SJW. It's like so pushback. The whole premise is if this guy when he has sex with women, they get superpowers,
right.
and it's just so like I mean, obviously that wouldn't be something you would see in a Marvel comic anyway.
Mhm.
That's always going to be an independent thing, or an Image thing, maybe even.
Sure, sure.
But I like that they're pushing back, and that's what it is. It's a real pushback on, just stuffy, square comics.
Yeah, like Cecil says, like there's just no fun. Like, I mean, like I grew up in the 80s, and so like I've been around long enough for like a bunch of different waves in comics, and this is the first wave of mainstream comics where there's just nothing fun about it, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Joseph White's in the chat, wants to know what's this all about. What's this all about is we're pushing Samurai and Dinosaurs. We're trying to get him funded. He's got about 5 days left. He's a little over halfway there. And you should go to his Indiegogo page. It's actually in the description.
Mhm.
Go to the description. His Indiegogo page is in there. You can check it out. We just went over the page, and maybe we'll do another quick run through when we're done here. But
Sure.
yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get Samurai and Dinosaur funded. So definitely share out the stream, everybody. Invite people in.
Yeah, please do. Um so yeah, like I mean even in the early 2000s, like you had Quesada taking over Marvel and kind of like just saying anything goes, and you were getting like just amazing book after amazing book. And then uh you had Image pushing stuff like Godland and all the Joe Casey stuff, and now it's just like 90% of what Image is putting out is either pretentious or unreadable.
Yeah,
And yeah, like I'm not having fun with it.
you can't even put out a superhero GI Joe book without people trying to get you not to shut it down.
Right. Or like rolling their eyes and just making the "oh how quaint" argument, you know?
Yeah, our comics are so much better now. You're just not woke.
Right. Right. Meanwhile, like, someone like Gail used to write Secret Six, where like dick and fart jokes were the norm, and like the running joke was Catman always being put in sexually compromised positions. And it's like, oh well, that's fine, I guess.
Or Plastic Man's that one the thing that got me blocked from
Right,
her. She
right,
did the thing where she was Harley, or he turned into Harley Quinn, but he still had the bulge.
right, right,
And most of the time that would have been funny. The whole problem with it not being funny is that they rail so much against it, and then when they do it, it's like, oh, I didn't realize that I was hurting anybody's feelings. But that's
right.
what they rail about all day. And then when they do it, and then it's like, oh man, I didn't know, and then blah. No, you knew, or you didn't care, or you just thought you wouldn't get any pushback
Right,
because you're on their side. Oh, they're
right,
not going to say anything to me, but no, everybody turns on their own. They turn on each other.
right. And if the editor, either the editor noticed and didn't care, or the editor just flat out didn't care to begin with, in which case, why are they an editor on a comic book? Like, I don't know. I just as you said, like everyone's walking on eggshells because everyone knows that the first chance that they get, they'll turn on each other.
Yeah, and what's nice about Comicsgate is comic books should be anything goes anyway. I mean, some
Yes.
people are going to find stuff offensive. Even when they did that thing with the Jesus comic not too long ago, and DC canceled it. Well, that probably somebody at DC should have said to them, "This isn't really a DC comic."
Right.
Nobody, I don't agree with them canceling the book or because of the outrage.
Hmm.
What they should have done is said, "Look, guys, this isn't a DC comic. This
Hmm.
isn't the kind of heat we're trying to draw. You're welcome to take this property and do whatever you want with it. Put it out somewhere else. I don't care that they get that published. I don't care that they wrote. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's offensive. I didn't read it, so I can't say if it was offensive to me or not. And I'm not going to read it.
Hmm.
But they should still be able to put it out.
Totally.
And that's what Comicsgate is all about. Is there should be no boundaries. You don't have to associate yourself with it. You don't have to necessarily like it, but everybody should get a shot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm here. And like if it ends up costing us people along the way, well, that is what it is. But I'm not like I was saying this to someone last night online. The industry is at a point where A, it doesn't really want new talent, and B, even if it does want new talent, it can't afford to pay that talent a living wage.
It's not
So
the
so
big.
so so
Oh, go ahead.
why bother?
It's not that the big names, the big two, can't pay it. It's they don't want to pay it.
Yes.
They want to pay cheap wages. They don't want to pay the big time wages because it's more about quantity than quality.
Well, that was the whole thing with Axel Alonso that he got caught up on. Like, he kept saying whenever like the Richards or of the world would like come out and start talking crap about Marvel, he would have Brevoort come out and say that their profits were up higher than they had been in years, and so you clearly don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, well, no, what you're doing is you're selling way less books, but you're just paying the talent making that books terribly. So
And then you're
you're not
upping the prices.
you're not actually, yeah, and you're raising prices. And you're putting out a bunch of variants, and you're relaunching titles every 4 to 8 issues. So of course you're making more money, but it's not because you're actually making content that people are buying.
Yeah, you're not making money off of me. I'm the customer. You're making money
Right.
off the store. That's your customer. And then you're saying, "See, we're successful." And then
Right.
the stores are going out of business.
Right. And you're pulling up your bootstraps with these artists who are so hungry and desperate for any type of work that they'll take the terrible wages, and that's how you get to like juke the numbers and come up with this, bullshit that you're actually way in the black when you're not.
Yeah, and then to make things worse, you're hiring these editors, quote unquote, who aren't really experienced comic book editors. They're not really interested in the product.
Right.
They're not the editors from what I've seen. I mean, I don't know about the big names, but from what I've seen, the little assistant editors, like what's her name? Just that we were just talking on Twitter about.
Yeah, Heather
Heather.
Montrose.
I don't think she was ever really interested in comics. And I
No.
think girls like her and the big guys, I mean, I know there was some controversy about quote unquote work girlfriends,
Right.
but they're hiring people that aren't interested in the product, and they're not going to be the best ones at the jobs. If you're going to be an editor on a book, you should at least be interested in the book or interested in the medium. Even I don't think
Right.
they're interested in comic books at all.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, you look at the editors of old. I mean, even like someone higher up, like Paul Levitz. Like Paul Levitz, like numerous times in interviews would say, "No, there's a bunch of titles that we put out that I don't like, but I know that they're good, and I know how to make them good, so I publish them." Um, and ironically enough, like one of the titles he didn't like was Preacher, which was edited by Alonso.
Mm.
So it's this thing of like you don't have to love all the titles that a publisher puts out, but you should have an appreciation for the craft and the medium.
And you should be not afraid to say no.
Right.
Because I think a lot of, especially like we were talking about these little assistant editors, I don't think they felt like they're like, oh, I got a job at Marvel, and then they're asked to do their job, and the artist you got. I'm blanking on just somebody that would be an artist right now at Marvel, like a Ryan Stegman or something.
Sure. Sure.
He brings you a book and says, yeah, here's my finished book. You're gonna tell that guy no.
Right.
You just barely broke in. You're gonna tell this guy who's been drawing comics or whatever. You're gonna tell him, oh no, there's something wrong with this panel or that panel. Oh,
Sure.
the grammar's off on this. You're gonna look on it. You're gonna rubber stamp it. You're gonna say, hey, great work, guy. Here you go.
Exactly, or like on the writing side, with all the diversity hires, like you're not going to rock the boat with someone that is quote unquote, beneath you, even though I don't believe in that nonsense.
Yeah,
Like you're not going to do that. You're just going to like rubber stamp whatever script they turn in, even if it's just a first draft.
yeah, and I don't know how many of those scripts get to Cebulski or even Brevoort or anybody.
Right.
That
I
how
can't I
far,
can't imagine it's a lot.
yeah, and I don't even know if they read the books after they're printed.
Right.
I think it was Brevoort. It was one of those guys sent out a tweet a few months ago. And I was like, "Oh, this is my backlist for reading." It was a big, tall stack of books.
Hmm.
And I was like, "That guy's probably never read any of those books ever."
No, no, there's no way. Like, I, I'll be honest. Like with some of the contacts and friends that that we have in town, um, it can be very easy for us to get free books.
Mm-hmm.
And my backlog of reading is an entire bookshelf. Like these people, there's no way in hell that they're ever going to read half of the stuff that they either have to or that they just get passed along for free.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's there's no love for the medium. People would have been dying. Oh my god, to work at Marvel back in the day as an
Sure.
editor, as a snuck in penciler, or just some kind of a script editor or something.
Right.
And they would have wanted to do the job well because they would have wanted to be. Everybody should want to be on Spider-Man.
Exactly.
That's the flagship book. Everybody should be working hard to be on Spider-Man or a character that they really love.
Hmm.
I mean, to me, that's the two goals. Oh, I want to get on Moon Knight. If that's your character, I've always loved the character. That's what they should aspire to do. The character that they love from the company, and they should work. Your best artists should be up in those tiers, doing those kind of books and making those books good and better. And when you don't have, you're constantly rebooting stuff, and you have 23 different Spider-Man books on the shelf, it makes it so much less special. You should be,
Right. And
yeah. Go ahead.
and and half of those Spider-Man books are just alternate covers of each other.
did you see that one with where they're all sitting around eating pizza?
Yep. Yeah, I did.
Oh my god!
I know.
And somebody said to me, they were like, "Oh well, that's a special convention cover." And I'm like, if I were that convention, I would have felt totally let down. This is what you give us?
Right.
If I'm holding a big convention and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make a special Spider," or it was Avengers, we're gonna make a special Avengers cover for you. I'm
Right.
like, cool. I want it to be an exciting cover. I'd be like, this is what you give me?
Right. Like, get it? They're eating stuffed pizza because this is a Chicago convention. It's like, I don't care, man. Like, just have them doing cool stuff.
Can't you have them fighting supervillains and whatever big Chicago building there is?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's the thing that I've been telling people. Like, of course, like one of my dreams in life is to be able to write Superman or Daredevil or Captain America. I would love at some point in my life to be able to work on those books, but I'm I'm not going to do this song and dance that everyone in the industry has to do just for the privilege of writing those characters at a rate that is beneath what I need to be able to live comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that means that I never get to say, "Hey, I wrote dialogue for Superman," well, I'll live.
Fewer, better quality books, fewer variant covers, and I think they make the same money and they increase their brand.
Right.
And that Marvel stamp means something. There's a certain value. The value is, you back in. I'm always going to say this, back in the '90s, but back in the '80s and before, you expected a certain level of quality on your book. Everybody, either you were a Superman person or you were a Spider-Man person. generally speaking, as far as meaning just Marvel and DC.
Right.
So the Marvel brand meant something. There was a certain value assigned to it. When you start making trash and just stamping Marvel on it, that brings down the value of having a Marvel stamp on your book. It used to be, oh, Marvel, that was at least it was at least worth a look. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I have to buy every Marvel book, but you look at it and you might look and say, well, this independent book, I don't know what to expect from that. That's independent. Maybe you'll pick it up, maybe you won't.
Hmm.
But you might look, you'll see a Marvel book, and you'll see the Marvel stamp, and you're like, oh, well, Marvel's got a pretty good reputation. They got Spider-Man, they got this, this, and this. And you're more likely to, if it's something new with the Marvel stamp on it, you're more likely to say, oh, I'll pick that up and give it a shot. Or, the same thing with DC. Oh, DC put out a new book. What is this? Oh, it's got the DC. It's probably pretty good because it's a DC book. I'll give it a shot.
Right. And like even in the 90s and early 2000s, you had that with stuff from Image and Dark Horse. Like, yeah, like when I was at the point when I was actively working towards like a career in comics, like my dream was to have like an Image book. Like I picked up, I remember it was my first year at the academy, the art academy in Chicago where I went to college. And like I remember one day after school I went to the comic shop that's downtown, and I picked up Powers #1 off the rack, having no idea, because like Bendis wasn't anybody, and Oming wasn't anybody, and Image had just been taken over by Valentino. And I read that thing and I was like, well, obviously like this is where I should be heading. um so yeah, like it was a dream to have like an Image series. And now, yeah, knowing where they're at as a publisher and knowing the reality of what it's like to actually be published by Image, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah. And I think that for a while after all that happened, the Image thing, everybody was like, oh, well, I'll be Todd McFarlane now.
Right.
Everybody wanted an Image book. And that right now, I don't even that now, the value of the Image label when it first started, it's like a stock. When it first started and it came on the scene, it was worth, so much more. And
Yep.
now you look at some of the books that come out. I mean, they've not that they don't have any good books, but there's so much more that some people are just like, meh. I mean, just because it has the Image logo on it, people aren't picking it up just to try it out.
Yeah, like I mean, 5 years ago, 5 years ago, I was reading, like 7, 8, maybe 9 Image books, and now I'm not reading any. Now when I see the logo, it's this marker of like, oh, maybe I should steer clear of that.
Yeah, and even if your feeling is, maybe not. I mean, that's not what you want. You
Right.
want somebody to have a definite positive image of what your stamp means.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Metal says we were talking about that cover. Says, yeah, he wouldn't have minded if that cover was an extra page of art at the end of the book, but
Mhm.
but a cover. And I said, yeah, it's not bad art. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't look bad. It's
Sure.
just the cover of the book should want to make you buy the book. And I don't necessarily. I mean, I don't mind if they're eating pizza inside the book, but that's not what's going to draw me into it.
Right. Right.
And there,
And that's not to get into the whole thing about like how comics these days are just constantly filled with characters eating food.
yeah, that too. They're all foodies now. It's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah, I know.
But there were three covers to that book. And one of
Mhm.
them was an exciting Avengers cover. One of them was actually pretty good. The other one was an exciting cover, but it said Avengers on it, but it's got Spider-Man fighting the Scorpion. And I'm like, I mean, it's a good cover. The art's good. I mean, it looks good. Why isn't it a Spider-Man cover?
Right.
Are you trying to trick people into thinking that this is a Spider-Man book now? I don't. Is he in? I don't really follow the Avengers anymore. Is he in the Avengers now? Honestly, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I mean, Put it on the cover of a Spider-Man book.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, that was the whole thing with those damn the cat variants from like 2 months ago.
Ugh.
Like half of them were for books where like say it was a Spider-Man book. Well, it would have like it would have like a Hawkeye cat and like a Black Widow cat, and you're like, wait, where's Spider-Man? Like, I just seriously, I wonder if it's an inmates running the asylum thing of like just one hand doesn't know what the other's doing.
It's like they don't even try anymore.
Right.
Alrighty, well, let's get ready to wrap this up. Let's go over let's do a real quick summary of, we get another question? Oh, the medal one more time. The medal says, wouldn't be a problem if food eating happened once in a blue moon and was maybe a setup for the villain to attack them because they're all in public together.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a good. And you know what? And I was talking about exciting covers and all that. I don't know if you ever read Excalibur back in the day.
Not a ton of it. The one that I remember was the X Babies crossover by Arthur Adams.
I know they used to do their covers were. I mean, they had exciting stuff, and they used to do kind of humorous stuff on the covers of their book.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one cover, and it was okay because it's not every cover. Every once in a while, you can throw something in that's pretty funny. One cover they did this gag, and all it was a janitor mopping the floor with like a spotlight on him, and he's like, "Oh, are you looking for super masculine men and women with big boobs fighting on the cover? You'll have to go inside for that."
Right.
And it was a funny cover, but again, you can do that every once in a while, but you can't constantly, you have to understand that the cover is going to get you to the book. But that one, it was funny because he worded it out, and it was really good. And a lot of the cover, none of them had kind of a humorous bend to it. None of them were like that. Not all of them were like that. But I mean, that was to me that at the time that's funny because every once in a while you can throw something like that in. But it wasn't every Marvel book doing it. It was that particular book.
Exactly. I mean, as you said, like the reason they're doing it to the degree that they're doing it is because they're slowly but surely transitioning into a lifestyle brand.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back to this real quick.
Sure.
Let's see. Present to everyone. We'll do my screen share. Boom. And all right. So that little technique didn't work. Okay. All right. So here we are back on your page.
Okay.
Let's see. Samurai and Dinosaurs, a graphic novel. I'd play the video, but it doesn't do the sound. I gotta get OBS or something for that, I think.
No, it's all good.
Let's see. So get in on the ground floor of the next great independent comic publisher, Chibi Comics. If that's what you're looking for in a comic, is an exciting story, gorgeous art, affordable price, you've come to the right place. Samurai and Dinosaurs tells the story of an elite group of samurai dispatched to investigate a downed meteorite and claims of monsters terrorizing the countryside. What they discover is reality breaking down all around them and Jurassic beasts displaced in time. Chibi Comics would love to build an invested audience who love great stories, great art, and trust in us to deliver epic comics and graphic novels to them for years to come. Samurai and Dinosaurs is the starting point for us. As a company, we hope you'll join us for the journey. We won't go through the whole 11 pages, at least reading them through, but
Sure.
we'll just let's go through the main tiers. I mean, guys, if you can't afford the physical book right now, get the smaller tiers, get him to his goal, and then when you got the money, it'll go into in demand or it'll extend, and then you can put your $20 down for the physical copy. And the physical copy is just the comic, 110 pages. We've already got 29 claimed. Let's see. And the book's already finished too, right?
Yeah, the main book is finished. We're going back in. Sergio's done with all the art fixes and expansions. And I'm about halfway through with like the rewrites that I'm doing on it. But in essence, it's done.
All right. So for $30, you're going to get the digital, you're going to get the print, and you're going to get the prequel Ashcan. All right. Let's see. For $50, you get the swag bag, which is everything, and then some original art.
A bunch of postcards, a poster, and a production still that is going to be drawn and rendered by me.
All right. Then you got, let's see, support the troops. We got a tier going out to the troops. We got page 9, original art and swag. These $160 tiers are this is the original art.
Yeah.
You're getting the right now. You can get page 9, you can get page 15, page 83. And that's further down. You'll be able to see what those pages are.
Yeah, and also I'm going to create a fresh update thread with all of the pages put together, and I'm also going to be sharing that on Twitter later tonight.
All right. So yeah, so subscribe to Chibi_Mike at on Twitter. Let's see. These are all the stretch goals, but if you look, you can look at some of the really cool art. It's a very like cartoony style, but we got some serious subjects. See, look at that. It's cartoony blood, cartoony violence. I love that picture right there. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too.
All right, I love the real the kind of comic strip style. This is a cool one. This one should be a giveaway. Do you have the original of that one?
Well, interestingly enough, yeah, like I forgot to mention. So Sergio sent me the 6 pages that we're listing up for sale, but he also is sending me these original pinups for all the character introductions.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what I should do with them. Do I auction them? Do I put them up as additional tiers? I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, this would make like you put another Samurai and Dinosaurs logo on it, and this makes a great poster right here.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe you even get it colored.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm doing with those. They should be arriving in the next like couple days.
Yeah, you should definitely ask around some of the pros what they think,
Right.
because these would be great. Like I said, as a print full color poster, if you can get each of these colored, or get that
Right.
Samurai and Dinosaurs logo on it. Get some more of the art here. This is some really cool stuff here. Alrighty. All right, there we go. Samurai and Dinosaurs. Maybe I'll put this one as the the thumbnail for this one today.
Excellent.
That one's pretty cool. All right. Thanks for coming on, Mike. It's always good to have you.
Likewise, always happy to stop by.
So everybody, go to the Indiegogo page and check it out. Follow Chibi Mike. He's also got a YouTube page.
Yeah, that's the Chibi Mike, all one word.
Yeah, the Chibi Mike. And like I said, Chibi_Mike on Twitter. This has been Indie Dave Comics. If you've got a project and you're looking to get a little bit of exposure, we got 5 people in here today, so that's pretty good for me, I guess. But tell your friends about Indie Dave Comics. Tell them keep to watch out, subscribe, like the video, and go and definitely back Samurai and Dinosaurs.
Much appreciated.
All right, and y'all have a good night.
Later.